So guys, I'm not sure if you'll know, if you're ever sick or anything, we record these sermons so that we can post them online. And like 2 weeks ago, Elijah sat like right there where Jose is. And you can't even hear the sermon, all you can hear is Elijah talking the whole time. So, to prevent that, I asked guys that y'all quietly listen. It's going to be a good day. I'm glad y'all are here. Alright, so we're going to get started today. At church, at ConXtion Youth, we want you to be you, belong, and believe. Okay? That's our goal, guys. We want you to come to church, and we want you to be you, belong, and believe. Okay? Now, part of that, we're starting a series. Can anyone tell me what series we're on? Series 4. Love. Why do you say series 4? I told you last week, it ain't numbers. Alright. We talked about love. First week, we talked about God's anger and love and all stuff. Last week, we had the awkward conversation of eros, romantic love. But it was a needed conversation. Awkward, but we needed it. Today, we're talking about a new type of love. It's called storge. Alright. Eyes on me. So if you're talking, Josiah holding hands over here. Eyes on me. Alright. He's still holding hands over there. Hey guys. If you're over here like this, you definitely ain't paying attention. Alright. Alright. Today we're talking about a love called storge. Now, here's a challenge. I want you, if you have a notepad, write your name and try to write the word storge. It's Greek. If you spell it correctly and you write your name, I'll give you a prize next week. The word is storge. It means love. Storge. And if you spell it right, write your name. The word is storge. Say what? Well, that's the thing. It's Greek, so it's saying, I showed storge to my family. I showed storge to my family because it's love. Storge. Store. Yes, with a T, but it's not spelled like that. All right, spell it. See how you do it. All right, back on me. All right, because how many of y'all raise your hand if you got siblings? Raise your hand if you got siblings. All right, hands down. All right, hands down. Raise your hand if you have some sort of parent or guardian. Jared, you got no guardian. I'll take you in, but no, hands down. All right, guys. I don't know if y'all know. I have 4 siblings. I got Sabitha, Diamond, Silver, or Saverio, and Andrew. Those are my 4 siblings. Now, I love my siblings. Listen guys, hey. I don't always like them. I got my siblings. Like for the most part, I get along with my siblings. Andrew I get along with all the time. Like we've had like 3 fights our entire life. My little siblings though, we would go on trips. Some of y'all got family trips. My 3 siblings would sit in the back. And all they would do the entire time would be like this. Mommy's looking at me! And it's like, or they'd be like, Mom, he's touching me. It's like, y'all are sitting next to each other. It happens. Or they'd be like, Mom! They're breathing the same air as me. I can't do this anymore. I just can't. Really, they just complained and fought all the time. And not only on road trips, my mom and my sister Diamond essentially fought every morning. Devin, right? Devin, we pay attention, right? Because you look like this. That doesn't look like paying attention. All right. My siblings, especially Diamond and my mom, always fought. to me and my family. And I might not always like them, but I love them. And that strange phenomenon, that strange thing, is called storge. Because guys, we talk about love, we're on the third week of love, and this what we're talking about is familial love. Family love. Because family love be different. Because you can be fighting with your siblings all the time, but I've seen people that they fight all the time, and then when someone threatens their sibling, they're like, oh, we're gonna fight. You talk bad about my sister! And they square up, whatever. Same goes for I know, hey guys, I know some students that have gotten fights because people talk bad about their mama. Yeah. Now I say this, it's not the appropriate response, but I respect the love. Victoria and I just watched a movie 2 days ago. It wasn't a good movie, it was poorly made, but you could feel for the bad guys, even though they were horrible and did terrible stuff and were dumb, you would root for them because they were brothers. And they showed that love I'm never going to leave you. Devin, am I going to have to separate you? You talking. And your mouth moving still. That's crazy. But, hey, I think I said it about 5 times. I really don't want to say it again. Please stop talking. I want y'all to hear what I got for you. My leaders, my older kids, I need y'all to represent for the younger ones. Elijah, if you're still not paying attention, that's...
Elijah!
All right, listen. All right. But that's familial love. You got love for your family. Now, here's an example in the Bible of family love. There's this king. His name was Solomon. Okay, you can find it in the book, 1 Kings, chapter 3, verse 16 through 28. Because you're the one person that might look it up. 1 Kings. And here's a weird story. Okay, here's a weird story. There's these 2 ladies, and they got babies. And they live in the same house, in the same room, bed, rooming. And one night, they sleeping with their babies, they're sleeping with their children right here. One night, one of the ladies rolled over onto the baby and suffocated. And the baby died. This is the Bible, isn't it great? Now listen. When the woman woke up, she saw her dead baby and was like, okay, I got an idea. She got up, went to the other lady, switched out the babies, the dead one for the live one, took the live one back, and went to bed, hoping the other one went notice. Now in the morning, the other mom woke up, and obviously she's like, oh, it's dead. Well, this ain't my baby. And she looks over and she's like, that's my baby. And the other lady's like, She's like, yes, it is. Yes. And then they have to, it becomes so bad that they take it to the king. And the king's known to be wise and all this stuff. And the king says this, okay, so you say you're the mama of the baby? Yep. And you say you're the mama of the baby? You both say? Well, I got a good idea. Let's take a sword, cut it in half, and both of y'all get the same amount of baby. I know, right? But listen, here's the thing. When the fake mom heard it, she was like, yeah, fine, let's do it. But the real mom heard it, and she's like, she can take the baby. She can have it, give it to her, but just please don't hurt my baby. And King Solomon, he was like, that's the mom. That's the mom. Because you could tell by the storge, by that familial love, you could see that mom loved her baby and how she acted. And now here's the thing, this lesson might be a little bit triggering to some people because I know not, because we talk about, because a mom and a dad should love their kids more than themselves. And every time. Thank you, Miss Deborah. Someone got to turn off their alarm for Wednesday night. All right, I know I lost you. Bring it back in, bring it back in. Because a good mom and dad love their kids. And here's the thing. A good brother and sister love, they might not always like, but a good brother and sister always love each other. But here's the reality. Some of y'all come from broken homes. Eyes on me. Some of y'all don't know that family love. Some of y'all have been hurt, rejected, and pushed out. Guys, it's serious. Some of y'all have even been abandoned. Guys, I know there's someone I'm like related to that listen, they were so neglected by their parent that eventually they got into drugs and all this other stuff, and eventually got messed up with this guy, and eventually they actually killed the mom. That's not some random story, that's someone I'm related to. Some of us in this world, we don't know story. We don't know that familial love, but here's the reality. You can. Because that's how God loves. One of the many ways. So we're gonna get into this, okay? God loves with storge. We're gonna look at this word. A couple weeks ago we got this verse in Exodus 34:6. This is when God comes to Moses and says, hey Moses, I want you to know who I am. Here's who I am. He says, the Lord passed in front of Moses, calling out, Yahweh the Lord, the God of compassion and mercy. I'm slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. And the word we're going to look at today is compassion. I want y'all to get this word, compassion. Because this is the word that is storge, the family love right here. Because in Hebrew, the word, I can't think of the word, but compassion is split into two parts. And the first word means womb. We got the womb right there. Not the men, you don't got the ladies, you got the men. And here's the thing. When we talk about compassion, it's talking about that family love. Because a mom is supposed to love her child. Not because the child has earned it, not because the child has done anything. Hey. Not because the child has earned anything, but because it's family love. Hey, listen. Too much going on. And God describes himself as this compassion, this love that's undeserved. You didn't earn it. You don't deserve it. But it's compassion. It's love that's not deserved. And we look at that because, if y'all remember 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Lord's anger and with slow to anger and all that stuff and everything. And some of y'all are still, it's hard for y'all. It's hard for me to understand that God sometimes gets angry. But thankfully he's slow to it. But whenever God gets angry, he doesn't just go punish people and hurt everyone. He eventually says, you want to go do it? Go do it. And God's people of Israel, they wanted to go and serve other kings and worship other gods. So God eventually said, go ahead. And in Nehemiah 9:27 says this. It says, so you, being God, handed them over to their enemies. Note that, handed them over, he allowed them to go. He didn't push them, he's like, fine. Who made them suffer. But in their time of trouble, they cried to you, and you heard them from heaven. Hey. So got a lot of time. But in their time of trouble, they cried to you, and you heard them from heaven. In your great mercy, you sent them liberators who rescued them from their enemies. That's compassion. Just like a mom, whenever she hears a baby cry, she reacts. Whenever God hears us cry out in need, God reacts with love. And now here's the sad part. The next verse, it's not up there, but the next verse is basically this. After God showed love and compassion, you cried out and you heard God showed love to you. After that, you still went back to the same old place. Hey! I've asked. Please stop. God showed compassion, but even then, whenever the people did compassion was love that they didn't deserve, even after that, they still rejected him. But here's the thing. Jesus does the same thing. He still shows love, because Jesus comes on later. In Matthew 9:36, he comes and he sees these people and he says this. He says this. So in Matthew, 36. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were confused and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Essentially, Jesus saw people struggling. They didn't get it. They were misunderstood. They were confused and lost. And even though they didn't deserve it, God showed them love. Jesus said, I show compassion to you. He showed love to them even though they didn't deserve it. Now the reality is this. You don't deserve God's love. And also with that, I don't deserve God's love. I've messed up, I've hurt people, I've lied, I've done things that have just hurt everyone in my family. Now here's the thing. God still loves me. Not because I deserve it, but because he shows that love anyway. Ladies? But he shows that love anyway. And the reality is you don't deserve it. You've lied. You've messed up. You've hurt people. You show disrespect. You're rude. You spread gossip. You look at things you know you shouldn't. There are lies and hurt and pain in this room. And the reality is none of us deserve God's love, but he showed it anyway. But here's the thing. God doesn't just go around and say, like, because you're hurting, help you. Every time in the Bible God comes and helps and shows compassion, it's because people cried out. People cried out. And what that essentially is saying, dear God, please help me with this. Dear God, please help me with my addiction. Dear God, please help me with my struggles. Dear God, help me mentally. It's a simple prayer, guys. It's just simply saying this. Dear God, I need you. And when we cry out because of Storge, God hears us and he responds. He doesn't ignore, he responds. That's the love we're talking about that God has. That no matter how many times you mess up, no matter how many times you do wrong, if you cry out to God, God will hear you and love you and forgive you. Now the hard part is this. It's easy to cry out to God and get his forgiveness and love. It's hard to do it for other people. Now, in Romans 12:9-10, it says this. This is New Testament says this. Don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. Hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. Go back to verse 9. Guys, here's the thing. You're called to love people. You're called to love the people that have hurt you. And that's hard. We're called to have Storge, not love because people earned it. We're not loving people because they're good. Not loving them because they're our friends, but we're loving them no matter what. Elijah. Storge is loving those who don't deserve it. And we're called to do it. A lot of us, we fake it. We're really good at faking being kind and polite. We put up with a lot of people. But the challenge, God, for us is not to just fake it. The challenge is to not pretend to love, but to really love Him. And that's hard because I know some of you have been abused. I know some of you have been hurt. I know some of you have been forgotten. And it's hard to forgive them. And they don't deserve it. They don't earn it. Pastor Aaron, how do you ask me to love them when they've hurt my entire family, when they mistreated us? How can you ask me that? I'm not. God is. God's not asking. He says if you want to be a Christian, if you want to love me, you can't just fake it. You got to truly love and forgive. Now here's what we're going to do, guys. I'm moving on to this next thing. And in a second, we're going to need a bunch of pins. Deborah, if you could grab those, please. The pins. If you have a pin, bring it up and use it when you do. Leave it here when you do. Remember, guys, here's what I want you to get. Here's what I want you to hear tonight, okay? Listen, you don't deserve God's love. Javen, do you want to go back to kids' church? Because that's how you're acting.
Take them back.
Listen. You don't deserve, none of us deserve God's love. But when we cry out, Alex?
No, that just got stabbed.
If you feel like they're distracting, you can move.
I feel like I'm getting assaulted.
Guys, we almost done. I got games and prizes in a minute, but we got to get through this. We don't deserve God's love, but when we cry out, He hears us and responds with love. So here's what we're going to do. Eyes on me. In a second, and I know this is going to be so hard for you because y'all got mouths. Try to do this without talking. In a second, we got pins up here. You got pins in your hand. I want you to do this. You're going to come up here, everyone. You're going to grab an orange card, and you're going to write on it. What you're going to write is a cry to God, saying, God, I need help with blank. And even if you don't want to write the whole words, if you're struggling with addiction or something specific, you can just write the word forgiveness or whatever you need help with. Boys, come write down your cry to God, and then what you do, take it, put it in one of the baskets. Now here's the thing, if you want to, you can write your name on it. You do not have to. But what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to take these cards, these cries, the prayers to God, and say, God, I need help with this. And I'm going to put them together and we're going to post them somewhere in the youth. And now here's the thing, there's no shame in it. So again, you do not have to put your name. But the reality is this. It's not God's job just to love us. We are called to love each other too. So what we're going to do is when you write this down, you put it here, and I put it up there. Next week, when you see it, you are challenged to show Storge, to go read the stuff people need help with and pray, God, help them with this. God, help them with whatever that is. God, help them in this situation. Because you're not called to just sit by and hear Pastor Aaron. You're called to participate and show Storge, and show love to the world. So everyone's doing this. Everyone's a part of this. We're going to put some worship music in the back and try to do this without talking. I know it's going to be hard for y'all. Something similar, yeah. So bow your heads, close your eyes right now. Okay, Corbin, I'll take your phone. take them. Bow your heads, close your eyes. Close your mouths too. Close your eyes. Dear God, I thank you for these students. God, they need you. There's a love they don't understand. There's a love that they might have not received from their family, God, but you show it anyway. You show this compassion that whenever we cry, we say, God, we need you. You respond with love. You never reject us. You never say we're too dirty. You never say that you're not loved. You respond and say, I love you, my God. So God, help these students today cry out and experience your story. But also, don't let it stop there. Let them be willing to show that love to other people. You are a good God, and we praise you and we need you. And right now, God, we are coming before you and saying, God, these are the things we need your help with. We trust in you, and we need you. It's in your heavenly name we pray. Amen. Now, here's your chance. Come forward, grab a pen, write down and invite God. Right?
You don't slip.
Everybody. Remember, try to do it without talking if you can. For those who missed it, write down something you need help with from God. God, I need help with school. God, I need help with my family. When you're done, put your little orange papers in the basket and take a seat. some really hard thing that you have to like know all the words. Prayer is simply this, Devin. Prayer is simply this. God, I need you. God, I need you in my life. That's for what prayer is. And guys, we have a God that whenever we say we need him, he shows up. So I want to ask everyone real quick. Again, not a magic thing, but it is a thing we do to show that we are a part of what God's doing. I'm going to ask y'all to do something that y'all might not have done before. Again, it's not magic. We're not using force or anything. But I want everyone, what we're going to do is we're going to reach out our hands towards these baskets right here, okay? Towards all y'all's minutes, okay? Come on, guys. Everyone, reach out your hands. Not a magic thing, not anything. It's not something like that. But, listen. This is an action. This is an action that shows what we're doing in our heart. So everyone, bow your heads. Close your eyes.
I really did.
Close your eyes, bow your heads, reach your hands out. Dear God, these teens need you. Dear God, it's evident, it's obvious, there's brokenness, there's addiction, there's hurt, there's loss. And these pages right here, these small cards, are just a glimpse of the hurt and the need that they have. And we come together, we reach out our hands, not because it's magic, but because it's an action that shows that we are going to be showing love like you do. So God, help us sow that storge, that love that's undeserved, the love that doesn't matter what you've done, but hears the cry of people and responds with love. God, we thank you. We know you're going to be working in this team's lives. We praise you. It's in your heavenly name we pray. Everyone say? Amen. Awesome, awesome. All right, stay seated. We got some